Hey, I want to thank everyone for joining me again for another candidate chat. This is the second one that we'll be doing, and this is for the Board of Education, District 4. And I have the candidate that is running to be elected for District 4 for the Board of Education with me right now. Her name is Nancy McChargue. So please tell everyone your name again, the office you're running for, and the particular area that it covers.
My name is Nancy McChargue. I am running for a Board of Education District 4. The schools covered in that area are Cowan Road Middle, Cowan Road Elementary, and Griffin High School. But the county voting area for that is from Brooks all the way to Cowan Road and beyond. As far up as I know, down Patterson and Birdie Road, like half of the county on this side is District 4 voting.
Thank you. And I always try to ask candidates that particular question because sometimes they don't know, not you guys, but constituents don't know what district they live in and actually what area it covers. So it's extremely helpful for them to kind of get an idea of what that actually encompasses. So who is Nancy McChargue? Like, tell us about yourself.
So I am married. My husband and I, Zachary, got married almost 9 years ago. I have three kids, 13, 8, and 7, and they are a handful. I do not work, but I do have two college degrees. One is in business management and the other is in criminal justice. I have 4 credits away from having my bachelor's in photography. And I spend most of my time working on the land with my mom. We have 10 acres out here. So we have chickens and ducks and all that stuff. Spend a lot of time doing that.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm not doing that, I'm watching movies or reading, art. And the biggest thing about me that'll win me over is coffee. I live on coffee. So
I live on coffee as well. Um, I think the most exciting thing for me for your candidacy is the fact that you are a parent. You're a mom, and you have a different level of understanding about our educational system because you have that actual perspective. And I think that's extremely important coming from, one parent to another. So this is one of the reasons why I really wanted to get you on here. I got to see you at the candidate forum,
mhm.
and when people were asking me about it, and I told them, I'm telling you what was said. I said she is the most relatable person that was up there as far as the school board goes. And I think that this can give you an opportunity to show other people what I see and
Right.
the passion that you have for the kids in our school system. So tell everyone why you're seeking a seat on the school board.
It's simply that I'm a parent. you know, um, Most of the people on the board either aren't parents or their kids have already graduated, their grandkids have already graduated. And we're looking at a system that's trying to see it from the outside. I deal with the schools every day. I have kids with disabilities. I volunteer at the schools. I interact with the teachers. And so I get that inside perspective that other people don't get being on the outside of it. So I'm running so that I can take what I'm learning from the teachers and the students actively in the schools, things that they're not telling other people for whatever reason, and I can move that somewhere else and help on a bigger scale
Mhm.
because there are a lot of things that they don't see like I do every day.
Right, right, right. And I totally agree agree with that. Sometimes I feel like a lot of people in elected positions, because they don't have a vested interest as far as that type of connection, there can be a, I don't want to say out of touch with reality, but out of touch with reality, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right. And that's, I've worked with the people on our current school board.
Mm-hmm.
They're great people and I think that they care. But when you bring attention to something, some of them don't take it as seriously as others because they don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably the two biggest things I've seen, is bullying and special education. Those two departments and those two things are just not really getting the attention that they need. Um, Most parents and students don't even know how to file a formal complaint for bullying.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't file that formal complaint, it's not going to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a big issue. They need to know how to navigate that. And then
And that's great because that you speak on that, because that was actually a segue into one of the questions that I had is, what are some areas that you see the current school board falling short, and what would you do differently in that
yeah,
perspective?
as far as the bullying goes, I think the county's website needs to be kind of rearranged. It's very hard, even for me, as a veteran parent, to navigate the website and find the information I need. So I think that needs to be changed so that it's a little bit more user friendly, because you can't really find anything on there. And then making sure that they know where to go or who to contact. We need some sort of directory with everybody's names listed for the county so that they know, hey, if I need to get a hold of the director of elementary education because I'm having a problem at the elementary school, I know this is the person I need to contact. That's a big thing. Communication is a really big thing. We're not getting communication from anyone, really, the school board and on, about what's going on in the schools, about when meetings are. I mean, there's just a whole lot with that. Teachers don't even really communicate with the parents the way that I would expect that they would. Um, so that's a big thing. I have to constantly be in contact with the teacher, sending them messages saying, hey, what's going on with this? I'm not getting reached out to as a parent. I feel like we need to bring parents back into schools. We need to bring the community back into the schools. That's a very big part of what I want to do. I know a lot of people probably say, well, we need to move forward. For me, moving forward does mean implementing some old school tactics. I believe agendas need to be a thing. Right now, I have to use 4 apps and multiple social media platforms to get all of the information from my schools.
Mm.
I used to just have to look at an agenda. So we need to put some of that old school back into school. I'd like to see parent nights again, where we're doing regular parent teacher conferences and seeing what our kids are actually working on in school, rather than just having a parent teacher conference when there's a problem.
Mhm.
And then the other big thing, like I said, is the special education, which also encompasses the gifted program. I know there's a lot of talk about the gifted program right now and changes they're trying to make. And I think it's important we look at those, but also that we look at what is going on with the services for students who have disabilities. Because for me, it took almost 6 months to get an IEP in place for my son. It should not have taken 6 months and me banging on people's doors to get that in place for my son. Here we are at the end of the school year, and my daughter, I requested in October that she get evaluated for dyslexia. She still has not been evaluated. There's nothing been done yet. So that's an issue. We have to be more active with that. They keep telling me we don't have the resources to do certain things because we don't have enough people. We don't have enough personnel. This is where your volunteers would come in handy. Having parents can come in and help kids study. They can come in and tutor. The colleges here would be more than willing to do mentoring programs. I don't know why we're not utilizing our community the way that we should be.
I think that's an extremely valid point, and it's especially with the IEPs, because I just recently talked to a parent that said that it was she had been pushing for 2 years because her daughter needs to be assisted with her hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're at the point now because in the school year and they're talking about possibly, retaining her. And it's like, well, when I said there was an issue and I've been beating my head against the wall for 2 years and you have chosen to do nothing about it, now you want to call me in to say that she needs to be retained. Like, what do I do with that? Because at
Right.
this point you're failing her. I'm not failing her because as a parent, I've done what I needed to do to let you know that there is an issue and you've done nothing about it. So that is definitely a very, very, very huge, huge concern. Um,
Well, I think too, going back to that, the resources,
mhm,
parents don't know what resources are available, both to kids on IEPs and not on them.
mhm,
So my son, because of his IEP, he gets speech therapy, occupational therapy at school. He has an ADA therapist that's external that comes into the school to work with him. So he gets all his therapies at school. But most parents also don't know that if their child is in therapy with a regular counselor for whatever reason, that therapist can actually come to the school so their child doesn't have to miss school.
oh wow, did
There
not.
are a lot of things that people are not aware of because they don't put this out there publicly.
Right, right. And that is a huge issue with communication, or again, there's also miscommunication
Right.
within that as well. I've had some parents talk about, as you stated before, how does this department not know what this department is doing? How is this making decisions? And this person doesn't know that they're making these decisions. So there's a lot
Well,
of that.
it's a business. While it's a school, it's a business.
Mhm.
And a business is supposed to be run a certain way. If we look at any good business model, you have your board of directors, then you have your CEO, and it trickles down. So, in that aspect, Board of Education is your board of directors. Then you have your superintendent and his chief underneath him. And then it goes down. And so,
Exactly.
what we're seeing is right now, the principals have a lot of autonomy. And I think that there are certain situations that are not black and white, so they may have to make a decision. But for the most part, all of the schools should have the same policies for certain things. The way that they do class changes, the way that they handle bullying, the way they communicate with parents, things like that. But we're not seeing that.
Right.
So if ORS has a father-daughter dance, then all the elementary schools should have that dance. And we're not seeing that. And that's a problem. Carver Road has not had a yearbook in 3 years.
Mm.
Okay. So if it hasn't had a yearbook in 3 years, but all of the other middle schools have, what's the disconnect? The disconnect is the admin.
Mhm.
So we have to change that. We have to make it the correct business model. And this is something that everybody should be doing regardless of the situation.
I totally agree. I totally agree. That is definitely something that needs to be looked at and finding some type of plan to put together so that everything is the same across the board.
Well,
Um,
like even last night, we had the award ceremony for ORS, and they did first through fourth grade all at the same time. They planned it very last minute. And in doing that, the place was packed to the point of parking was all over the place. There was people were standing. It was so many people. So some of us chose because our kids were the first ones to get awards. And this is something I never do. But I chose to get my kids and go ahead and leave so that other people who were still waiting for their kids' awards could sit down. And I could not believe that an admin actually got up on there on the mic and said, parents who are leaving, don't do that. That's very disrespectful. Well, it was really disrespectful to do it this way in the first place. Especially, I had talked to them and told them, hey, let's not do it like this. Do it one grade at a time so that parents, it's not crowded. Parents can actually enjoy it. They planned it so poorly that the students didn't even get to perform the songs that they had been practicing all semester for it. So
wow.
that's something that we have to look at is that planning. And that goes back to let's get parents involved. The
And I'm
parents
glad
can help
you
plan
said
these.
that. Yeah, I'm glad that you said that because I really want to ask, what changes do you think we as a community need to make as a whole, in progressing forward in our educational system?
So what I would really love to see, this is my biggest thing,
Hmm.
is we need that volunteer list at the county. You know, you have to go through a background check to become a volunteer. That's anybody, parents, anybody has to do that. So we need to see that list grow. I would love to see that list grow in numbers over the summer, just so starting in August, they have enough people that they can say, hey, we want to do a huge event, but we need volunteers. And they can reach out to those volunteers. The career days at the schools, I want to see those go back kind of old school. Right now, I love that the public safety people are involved in that, but that's mostly all that's involved in that. And I want our kids to see that a career doesn't mean just that. You can go and be a musician. You can go and be a politician. You can go and be a doctor or a teacher. You don't have to stick to that category. And they're not seeing that now. My favorite thing from childhood was my dad. He would come to our career day every year and he worked on gas pumps, but the kids loved it because it was something different, something
Hmm.
that people don't think, oh, there's someone that fixes gas pumps, but obviously they do. You just never know that they exist.
Right.
So it's awesome, you know. And now, I mean, because of that, my brothers, both of them, and my husband and brother in law all do the same job. They all work together at a company fixing gas pumps.
Mm.
So it's awesome to be able to share that kind of stuff with people to see you can do this.
Mm.
It's different, but you can do it. But that also brings me to something else. I love that we want people to graduate college and career ready. But I want to see us change that a little bit to what college and career ready means. Because we're focused so much on testing and math and reading.
Very
And I
true.
want to see us put some emphasis on the arts because you can go to college for photography or art or theater. So why are we pushing these kids who are artistic types into the same bubble as those who are not? That's just not how this works. I
Mhm.
was blessed enough to be able to do the math and the reading stuff myself, but my passion's always been art. That's what I wanted to do originally, which is why I've gone for photography now. And so I want to see us open those doors a little bit more and put some more emphasis into that. And I know our community members, we have numerous community members who would be willing to come in and do painting with classes or things like that. So why aren't we doing those things? The program challenge just had an event with the first graders this year. They had Mr. Franklin from Carver Road go over and do a painting with them that they all got to bring home. Why couldn't we do that on a little bit bigger scale and involve the community members, have them come in and do that? So, you know, I would love to see us do more like that with it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So tell me why, well, tell me and the community, why should the community support your candidacy and why do you believe that you're the right candidate to represent District 4?
I think that's both the same answer, really. There's not two different answers for that question. I'm asking for support because I'm a community member, I'm a parent. People know me and they know that I am one of the realest people out there. If I make a mistake, I'm going to tell you I made a mistake. I'm not perfect and I will never pretend to be perfect, but I
Mhm.
will be honest and I will be transparent. And if I don't like something that's done, I will tell you, but I will tell you the right way. I'm not going to call you out in public. I'm going to do it behind closed doors where it's professional. I'm going to make sure that all the kids are taken care of. I don't care who you are or where you come from. You are a person and you deserve the same amount of respect, the same services, the same resources as everybody else. The biggest thing my parents taught me when I was growing up was you should treat the CEO the same as the janitor. And it is true. They're both people. I do not care. And so I really want the support because I am that person who's going to make sure everyone is 100% above board, doing what's right. I have high morals and ethics. And I hate to say that, but that's one reason that I don't have a job outside of the home. I've worked for numerous companies that I saw something go wrong and I tried to do the right thing and report it. And that was a problem to them because they didn't want it to be reported. Be quiet about it. I don't believe in doing that. We have a way to do it. Let's do it right.
All right. Thank you so much. I really
You're welcome.
appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me and allowing people to really get a better idea of the things that you see that need to be changed and how you would
Mhm.
go about changing those because I think it's extremely important um, for the community to get an opportunity to ask these types of questions because a lot of times they don't get the opportunity to
Oh,
ask
I
these
know.
type of questions or someone may not be willing to answer these types of questions. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate you, Nancy, and I wish you the best of luck on Tuesday. I'll definitely be rooting for you.
Thank
And
you.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Of course. And you know what? Even if I don't win, I'm still going to be there. So if anybody needs help with anything, all you got to do is let me know. So,
And can you give people an idea of how they can contact you or support you?
so I'm not asking for any type of donations or anything because I just don't believe in that. If you want to donate it to the schools. I just if anyone wants to contact me, the email address is mccharge.nancy@gmail.com. And you can also reach me on Facebook. Just look up Nancy McCharge. I'm like the only one on there with that name.
Mhm.
Um, so and I mean you'll just see me around town. I'll probably be in my pajamas, but you'll see me.
All right. Thank you so much, Nancy. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.